So the background with Luke. The vocabulary and style of the book of Luke and Acts are very similar. The book of Luke is written in a very classical, high style. And so it's more of a classical, the sentence structures are much longer, more convoluted, but more just sophisticated in the way it's written. The book of Acts is written the same way, whereas Luke has hundreds of words that are what are called hapax legomena. They're used only one time, very rare words. Acts also is written in a very sophisticated style, a very literary style, classical kind of style. So Luke and Acts very much similar in those two. Both books are written to Theophilus, this fellow named Theophilus. And he's called Most Excellent Theophilus. And Luke, chapter 1, verses 1 to 4, writes about it to this and identifies him as Most Excellent Theophilus. Acts chapter 1 also identifies him as Theophilus. Now, some people think that this is more of a nickname or a cognomen of just, and they break up the word. Theo, you can see the word Theo here means God. Philos is kind of like Philadelphia, love. Okay, the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Okay, Philos means love. So this Theophilus means lover of God, something like that. So lover of God. So some people think that these books are written to anyone who's a lover of God. The problem is when he says Most Excellent Theophilus, it seems to be more of a title. He's Most Excellent Theophilus, that this guy is some sort of governmental official, some person of dignity, and his name is Theophilus. And so I take this as a real name, and that his position is Most Excellent Theophilus. And like I said before, I think actually that Luke is writing this for the purpose of getting Paul out of jail. And Paul's got to go before Caesar, and so Most Excellent Theophilus, he's writing about Paul saying, Theophilus, can you help this guy out here? Here's the story of Paul, so you're going to know all the background of this when you go to defend him and things. So, okay. Now, why did Luke write the book of Acts? And I just want to make some suggestions here, and we'll move through this fairly quickly and stuff. Catechetical instruction for Theophilus. Theophilus may have been a young believer, and Luke writes the story of Jesus and tells about the story so that he knows about the historical background of Jesus, and then also he knows the background of Peter and Paul and the early church and things. And so the catechetical. Today we learn catechisms. If I said to you, what is the chief end of man? Most people who have studied the Westminster Confession, which I grew up on a little bit, the chief end of man is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. God is a spirit, infinite, eternal, unchangeable in His being, wisdom, power, holiness, justice, and truth. And so we learn these catechisms when we're children. And the Westminster Catechism, some student in class today mentioned the Heidelberg Confession. And so you have these confessions, and the confessions are used largely to train young people into what it is we believe, okay? What it is we believe. And so the catechetical purposes that Luke and Acts could have been written to basically train Theophilus into what Christianity was all about, and a catechetical function for Theophilus, not just in defense of Paul, but for that reason. A second one, it's a history. Acts is a history book, but it's not a history of the whole church. It's not a complete history of the whole church. It really focuses on the Apostle Paul. And like we said, Thomas, the whole thing that Thomas did, Philip, many of these other apostles are not mentioned after the first few chapters of the book of Acts. The apostles die out, basically, and they spread out and go all over the place. And the thing focuses on the 3 missionary journeys of the Apostle Paul. So it's not a complete history. While it is a history of the early church, it's seen through this eyes or this Pauline kind of focus that we've noticed before.